Everyone. I'm Stephen Garvey, founder, leader of National Citizens Alliance. Today I'm going to do an introductory statement on the upcoming NCA events, the public discussions on mass immigration on November 24th in Halifax, Nova Scotia, and in Red Deer, Alberta. That's Saturday, November 24th. This is like I said, a public discussion. We welcome different perspectives on mass immigration. You may be opposed to it, you may be in favor of it. We want to hear from you. You may not have an opinion. So come and get informed on the issue and learn more about its impact on our society and our country as a whole. And you can view these events on our Facebook page at National Citizens Alliance. Also, we have them on our website, on our homepage at www.nationalcitizensalliance.ca. So please come out. Ironically, and probably not surprisingly, there's never been a public discussion on mass immigration. Yet, mass immigration has been going on for decades and decades, regardless of which establishment party is in power. And this top-down approach is something the National Citizens Alliance stands fully in opposition to. We reject the top-down dictatorial governance coming out of the federal government, coming out of the House of Commons, coming out of Ottawa. And this is something that's high on our priority list to turn around. National Citizens Alliance supports bottom-up, grassroots, all the Canadian people working together, united for the betterment of our country. And we believe that's the best road forward. So tonight I'm going to touch on some pretty shocking immigration facts. And we just want to give you the facts so you can make the best decision. But these numbers are very shocking, and some of it is connected to the Bank of Canada presentation I did yesterday. And, you should not be surprised. Mass immigration has never been discussed in the House of Commons. All those establishment parties support mass immigration. If you talk to the establishment conservatives, someone like Scheer, he avoids answering the question because he supports it. Just like his predecessor, Harper or Mulroney. And then you get bogus claims that immigration is good for the economy, and implicitly, mass immigration is good for the economy. Just like them saying the Bank of Canada and it's controlled by the central banking cartels good for the economy. You see the connection? You connect the dots. It's the same language, same lies, same deception. So I'm going to present the facts, and then I'm going to present our solution at the end. I do have a video I'm going to play, so I will be adjusting the audio, and then I will adjust the audio back. But before I get into this, we need to understand some basic concepts about immigration. And I'm going to bring up this from Marie Le Pen, and she's doing very well in France right now, but this is her quote. Quote, immigration is an organized replacement of our population. This threatens our very survival. We don't have the means to integrate those who are already here. The result is endless cultural conflict. Marine Le Pen. And there's so much truth in that statement. And she's not even talking about mass immigration. She's just talking about immigration is organized replacement of, I would say in Canada's case, our traditional population. Mass immigration is the rapid replacement, organized rapid replacement of our traditional population. Now, I'm going to show you the facts, and that's exactly what's happening. And the truth is, there's globalist sellouts. These politicians, these career politicians in Ottawa, are just sold out to the globalist agenda. It doesn't matter what side of the aisle. This has been going on for decades. Mulroney was one of the ultimate globalists. Harper, I'm going to show you later, was one of the supreme globalists as well. And Trudeau has just continued off him. So if we keep doing the same, we're going to get the same. These establishment cronies, all of them on Ottawa, are globalists or globalist sellouts, globalist patsies. That's it. None of them talk about it. They're afraid to talk about it. We got to drain them out. We don't need cowards like that in Ottawa, these sellouts in Ottawa. And that's the truth. Another thing we need to understand about immigration is we got to look at the Charter. Because what's going on in Canada is rooted in the Charter. So I'm going to put up the Charter here to help inform everyone. And here we are. The relevant section here is section 27. So this charter was implemented by Pierre Trudeau in 1980, but the other crony establishments in Ottawa supported it as well. They certainly didn't stop it from going through. So section 27 is critical to this mass immigration. It says, quote, "This charter shall be interpreted in a manner consistent with the preservation and enhancement of the multicultural heritage of Canadians." So this section 27 defines the whole charter. Basically, it mandates the government to preserve and enhance the so-called multicultural heritage of Canadians. And that was slipped in there. So this is just part of the globalist agenda here, turning Canada into a post-national globalist village, pushing multiculturalism, racism on the Canadian people. Our heritage, actually, the true heritage of Canadians is a bicultural heritage of Anglophones and Francophones. That's our true heritage. They're basically lying in the charter, and they're projecting what they want Canada to be. But our true heritage is cultural, coupled with First Nations. That's our true Canadian heritage. And they're basically going against it. And another important aspect of the charter, which I'm going to put up here, is section 15. And this is quite disturbing. It says every individual, section 15.1, quote, "Every individual is equal before and under the law and has the right to equal protection and equal benefit of law without discrimination, and in particular without discrimination based on race, national or ethnic origin, color, religion, sex, age, and mental and physical disability," end quote. So what that means is anyone who steps into Canada, whether legally or illegally, they have rights under our charter. This is very disturbing. And this is wrong. And it means that foreign ethnic groups that come to Canada, they have equal rights. Even though they may not be citizens, they have equal rights and privileges as Canadians who have been here all their lives and for generations and generations. I'm going to go back into here. And then what's disturbing is section 2. This is affirmative action written into the charter. And it's saying section 1 does not preclude any law or program activity that has its object of amelioration of conditions of disadvantaged individuals or groups, including those that are disadvantaged because of race, national or ethnic origin, color, religion, skin, sex, age, mental and physical disability. So that's basically, we're getting affirmative action now. And we talked about this earlier in the week. And the Conservatives, thanks to them, they passed the 1986 Employment Equity Act, which favors visible ethnic minorities, new immigrants over Euro Canadians. And that's what's happening in the federal workforce. Uh, Euro Canadians who may be more qualified are being overlooked in favor of an immigrant that's in the country 2 to 3 years. This is discrimination, and it's completely unfair to Euro Canadians who've been here all their lives. So that's another disturbing aspect of the Charter. Look at that. Section 15. So, what we want to do, the National Citizens Alliance, is to amend Section 27. We want to amend it to, quote, this charter shall be interpreted in a manner consistent with the preservation, enhancement of the traditional English, French, and Aboriginal heritages of Canadians. And that's what we want to switch that for. We're also concerned about Section 15. I'm just looking here. That's definitely something we want to deal with. Right now, we only have a focus on 27, but that would help a lot if we could amend 27. That would focus on preservation and enhancement of the bicultural heritage of Canada, including First Nations, Aboriginal people. So I'm going to get to immigration numbers now, and they're particularly disturbing. I'll just present the facts to you. That's all I'm going to do. But before I do that, I'm going to play a clip, and this is from Harper's speech to the UN. Basically, he's bowing down to the global world order. He's praising the UN, and it's just crazy. He's saying Canada is giving money and working with the World Bank, which is part of the international banking cartel, and it's involved in a lot of unjust activity around the world. And but I'll play the clip, and you can form your own opinion. I'm just gonna adjust the audio settings here.
But we have traveled so far that stopping now would be a tragedy.
That to stop now would be a tragedy. I must tell you, I was very encouraged this afternoon at the Secretary General's Every Woman, Every Child event, when President Kim of the World Bank and other leaders announced new financing for the bank's global financing facility for every woman, every child. This facility will help developing countries access the financing required to improve their health systems.
I was pleased to announce that Canada will financially support the mechanism for global funding to support the Every Woman, Every Child initiative of the World Bank.
Announced that Canada will financially support the World Bank's global financing facility for every woman, every child.
So there you have it. You heard Harper there. He doesn't sound much different from Trudeau. Those are the facts. He's worried about the developing world. He's giving our money to the World Bank, which is part of the international banking cartel. Doesn't sound much different from Trudeau. Those are the facts. And I'm going to shift here to the immigration numbers because I want people to be informed on them. So these are the numbers. They're a bit lowballed, but we can see here, let's start in 2010. Like I said, these numbers are a bit lowball, but there was at least 270,000 plus immigrants that came into Canada. Then we shift to 2011, it was 260,000. 2012, 260,000 again. 2013, 263,000, and this is just in 1 year. 2014, almost 270,000. And then we got 2014, just over 240,000. 2016, over 320,000. And then in 2017, 272,000. So you can see that under Harper and Trudeau, there's not much difference in terms of mass immigration. And the mass immigration numbers has steadily been increasing. And you can see this. They're just getting higher, gradually getting higher and higher. I'm going to shift here. I just want to give you an idea of the demographics coming into Canada. So this is in 2014. The number one country was the Philippines. And we're assuming for low-income workers coming in from the Philippines. The second country was India. The third country, the third most country with immigrants coming in is China, followed by the Islamic Republic of Iran, followed by Pakistan. Those were the top 5 countries in 2014. And there was a planned projection between 260 to 285,000 immigrants in 2015. So just so you know what's coming in, I'm going to shift to some other figures here. And this is very concerning here. And this is talking about the next data I have for you is talking about the changes in the demographics in Canada due to this mass immigration. So what it's saying here is based on the projection scenarios used, immigrants would represent 24.5% and 30% of Canada's population in 2036, based on these mass immigration numbers, compared with 20.7% in 2011. These would be the highest proportions since 1871. In 2036, between 55.7% and 57.9% of Canada's immigrant population could have been born in Asia, up from 44.8% in 2011. So this is the trend, everyone, of what they're doing. It's basically what Le Pen said. This is organized replacement of the traditional population of Canada, and it's happening very fast. Look at that, 20.7% in 2011, and in what's that, 25 years, it's going to jump up to 30% of Canada's population. And Toronto right now, Euro Canadians are already in a minority. And that's a trend in major centers across Canada. This is a fact. And we've seen numbers before 2100. If this mass immigration continues, Euro Canadians will be 20% or less of Canada's population, total population, before 2100. That's where we're headed. And I'm going to shift here. This is a really interesting document. This is from the Bank of Canada. This is a Conference Board of Canada. And it's pushing for 450,000 immigrants per year by 2025. And this is crazy. And this is just all about the banks, select commercial interests benefiting from additional consumers, and the government benefiting from additional taxpayers. There would be very little marginal increase in the GDP. The GDP increase would be just 0.2 percentage points higher than what's forecast. So that actually proves what National Citizens Alliance says and basically refutes what these establishment conservatives are saying, that immigration, by extension mass immigration, is good for the economy. And we argue that there's no correlation between immigration and economic growth and increase in per capita income. And what's happening is this mass immigration is helping the establishment parties for votes, and it's also helping the banks and developers and select commercial interests. The majority of the Canadian people do not benefit. Immigration and refugees is costing you, the taxpayer, over $24 billion a year to administer. And we calculate that new immigrants coming in are taxation negative to the tune of 40 billion plus. In our estimation, the Canadian taxpayers are losing up to 60 billion a year due to this mass immigration. 60 billion of your tax dollars is wasted. It does not make sense, everyone. It does not make sense. I'm going to shift to some other data here. And I'm going to turn to Agenda 2030 because this is connected to what's going on with the mass immigration. And this is from the Government of Canada website. And it talks about the goal. If you look through the goals of Agenda 2030, it is all about the global world order. It's all about the global world. It's not about the Canadian people. And what's interesting about the Agenda 2030, the Canadian people were never given a say on it. It's been imposed by these establishment parties in Ottawa on you, the Canadian people. You have not been given a say. So let's look at these goals and I will show you the globalist agenda. It talks about ending poverty in all its forms, quote, everywhere in the world. And this is what our federal government is committed to. It says end hunger, achieve food security, improve nutrition, promote sustainable agriculture in the world, not in Canada. Ensure healthy lives, promote well-being for all ages, again, in the world. Achieve gender equality, empower all women and girls throughout the world. Ensure availability and sustainable management of water and sanitation for all. Why is our government worried about the whole world when we have many seniors living in poverty? We have veterans who are struggling. We have youth that are just consumed with debt. We have single dads, single moms struggling to make ends meet. The average Canadian family is severely overtaxed. Again, if I go down here, ensure access to affordable, reliable, sustainable, modern energy for all. Decent work, economic growth for all. Reduce income inequality within among countries. Strengthen the means to implement and revitalize the Global Partnership for Sustainable Development. So I think you get the message from this. This is all about global world order. It has nothing to do with the Canadian people. It's very troubling. Yet the government in Ottawa is committed to this. The establishment parties are committed to this Agenda 2030. And what's worse is they're using Statistics Canada now to monitor the progress. They're collecting data on the Canadian people. They're secret about the immigration, like their agenda, they're the numbers they want in Canada. But if you look at the immigration numbers, they want a globalist order. If you look under Harper's immigration policy, he was drawing people in from 190 different countries. 190 different countries. So here's Statistics Canada. They are working with the federal government on collecting data on you and your family. This is very sinister what's going on. They have these goals. The specifics are behind the scene. They're not transparent about the immigration they want. But like I said, we know where it's going. You can see the trends on mass immigration. It's very clear, everyone. So I hope this was eye-opening today, what's going on. And the National Citizens Alliance is anti-globalist, pro-Canadian. We want Canada to pull back from the United Nations. We want to end all voluntary payments to the UN. We want to end all the payments, the outflow going to the UN and UN entities. And there's billions of dollars flowing out of the country every year. We want to cut back foreign aid by at least 75%. And we just published this week regarding foreign aid to Afghanistan. It turns out billions and billions of dollars, some of which came from Canada, was wasted. It was sucked into corruption, and there was lack of oversight. And that's only one example of how your tax dollars are being wasted. We also, the National Citizens Alliance, rejects mass immigration. We do not support the organized replacement of Canada's traditional population, especially the rapid organized replacement of Canada's traditional population, which is occurring thanks to these establishment sellouts in Ottawa. We believe that Canada's traditional populations of Francophones, Anglophones, and First Nations, Aboriginal people should be the majority population of Canada. We should be protecting, preserving, and enhancing the bicultural heritage of Canada, including First Nations and Aboriginal people. And that's what the National Citizens Alliance is committed to. We support a temporary pause in immigration on day one in forming government. We will do that on day one. There will be a stop. Right now, there's an 11-year backlog. It's a mess. We have new immigrants coming in here, exploiting our healthcare system, our welfare systems, our social services. We will put an end to that. We want, for 5 years, no immigrant will have access to our healthcare and social services. We will deport all illegal immigrants crossing from the U.S. There will be no asylum cases accepted. All illegal migrants coming across the Canada-U.S. border will be deported. We will put a moratorium on sanctuary cities in Canada and shut them down. We also support 50,000 or less in total immigration per year within 1 year of forming government. We do not believe that immigration, and by extension mass immigration, is good for the Canadian economy. We believe the reverse, that it is harming the Canadian economy. It is harming Canadian families. It's harming Canadian businesses. We also believe it's harming the environment. For example, every year 95,000 hectares of farmland are bulldozed. 80% due to immigration. And you must understand, and what's happening is all our rural towns around Canada, they are built around prime farmland. And with the immigration coming in, as these towns expand, they're eating into all the prime farmland. It does not make sense. In addition, the mass immigration is harming our society and culture on so many fronts. Ethnic enclaves are expanding in Canada. No-go zones are forming. There's increased ethnic separation and conflict in Canada. Not to mention the political correctness and erosion of our free speech for anyone who speaks against this globalist agenda that includes mass immigration. We encourage you to go to the National Citizens Alliance website, www.nationalcitizensalliance.ca, and please take a look at our immigration policy. It's very comprehensive, and if you support the NCA, please join us, volunteer, become a member. Also, we encourage you to come out on November 24th to our NCA public discussions on mass immigration. We want to hear from you. You may disagree with what we're saying. You may be in favor. You may be neutral. Come out and get informed. Come and share your opinions. We want to hear from you. And I want to thank everyone for tuning in, and I look forward to reading the comments from today. And I hope you find this information today helpful. And if it resonates with you, if it is helpful, please share it so we can help inform other Canadians. And I want to wish all Canadians a great weekend ahead. Thank you.